scrolling through TikTok's live stream feed, if you stumbled across this TikTok live, you would probably assume that these two are a couple. However, if you stopped and watched their live, you would discover the disturbing truth that they are actually father and daughter. Patrick, the father, originally went viral on social media for uploading a video showing him giving his daughter a purity ring in the form of a proposal. Yes, he got down on one knee and everything when he offered his daughter the purity ring. We'll cover that viral video, the idea of purity culture / purity rings in conservative Christianity, as well as what is too far when it comes to the bond between a father and a daughter. In American culture, the bond between a father and a daughter is often celebrated. Girls may often be referred to or call themselves a daddy's girl. If a young woman is troubled and promiscuous, people often say that she has daddy issues. And it is common when women get married that they have a special dance with their father before dancing with their husband. But what about when the special bond that fathers have with their daughters goes too far?
Well, there are age gap relationships now.
Oh, that's true.
Lots of them.
Yeah.
But, and that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
Age is just a number. But
Yeah.
this is my daughter, okay?
Yeah.
Many people have looked at Patrick and his daughter Sarah's social media accounts as just that, a portrayal of too few boundaries. While all of Sarah and Patrick's social media accounts have been taken down due to mass reporting and trolling, looking through the screen grabs that were taken before their accounts were removed, many have innocently commented that they are a cute husband and wife duo, especially when it comes to the books they have co-authored. But we'll get into that later. Patrick and Sarah's claim to fame was not the proposal video, but just their father-daughter content in general. Because, again, so many speculated that they were a couple. And when Patrick or Sarah corrected their audience, many were horrified. Their shocking content is what drew people to their TikTok account. They had several accounts. The largest had almost 5,000 followers, which is no small feat for a duo that really offered nothing else content-wise. Like many people on TikTok who have nothing to offer when it comes to content, Patrick and Sarah focused on uploading object made. This one is very much giving the kind of shirts that say something like this.
Yes, I'm a crazy daughter, but not yours. I'm the property of a freaking awesome dad. He was born in April and has a serious dislike for stupid people. Mess with me, and the beast in him will awake. And they'll never find your body. Yes, he bought me this shirt.
But by far, the cringiest grift that Patrick has created is a book that he co-wrote with Sarah. Now, I use the term wrote generously because many have suspected that Patrick used AI to write the majority of the book, with Sarah contributing ideas and writing some parts here and there. Apparently, the book is about a princess that learns to trust and go to battle with a terrifying dragon, a la Khaleesi in Game of Thrones. While this may sound like a harmless young adult fantasy book, this passage that Sarah and Patrick read together sounds oddly mature. Speaking of mature, take a look at the cover art for their book. While it is obviously also AI generated, Patrick or maybe Sarah still had to type in a prompt into the AI image generator to produce this busty blonde princess. And both of them had to have agreed on this image, I'm sure. Given the fact that Patrick refers to Sarah as his little princess, the weirdness of the passage that they read from the book, combined with the weird cover art, it just makes the whole situation very strange. But the strangest parts of Sarah and Patrick's story is yet to come. Now we venture into the moments that they've shared online that go beyond what most would consider appropriate father-daughter content. First, there's all of the weird photos and videos that they have together. Once again, scrolling through these photos and videos, you would probably assume they were a couple if you didn't know anything about them. And I just want to say that I'm completely fine and I completely get being affectionate with your parents to a degree. But I think that we can all agree that the constant touching, playfulness, hand placements, and even the looks they give each other is odd. Diving a bit deeper into their odd/inappropriate behavior, we have the topic of daddy-daughter dates. If you're unfamiliar with that idea, a daddy-daughter date is when a father and daughter spend time together, just the two of them. Many fathers do this to strengthen their bond with their daughter, especially if they have multiple children. Many fathers believe it's important to have one-on-one time with their daughter to show them how they should be treated by men, because obviously for most women, our father is the first exposure we have to relating with men. Now, I personally don't find it weird or inappropriate to use the term date when it comes to outings that fathers and daughters go on, because many things can be called a date, like a coffee date between friends or a lunch date between coworkers. However, I do have an issue with Sarah and Patrick's daddy-daughter dates because of how Patrick captioned one of their dates.
It was literally one of the best nights of my life. I am so proud of the woman you have become. It has not always been easy watching you grow up because I know I will eventually have to let you go. But I am happy knowing that you have grown into such a strong Christian woman. You will always be daddy's little girl.
Like, on its face, those sentiments aren't that weird because I'm sure many parents share those same thoughts. However, what I think makes it weird is everything we discussed and everything we have yet to discuss. Like the father-daughter date night where Sarah wore a lacy, rather sexy red dress that looked more like lingerie. So from these now deleted videos, we have screenshots of Sarah explaining that her dad bought her this red dress to wear on one of their upcoming daddy-daughter date nights. So yeah, the fact that Patrick picked out this dress, had Sarah try it on for him, took photos of her trying it on, and then bought it for her is troubling. That's part of what creeps me out when it comes to Patrick's behavior as a dad. What he does with Sarah requires many different little choices. The choice to go on a date night, the choice to buy a new dress for Sarah to wear on these date nights, the choice of this particular red dress out of all of the dresses in the store, and also the choice to see her try it on and decide to buy it, as well as take photos of her trying it on and make these weird TikToks with her in the dress. I don't think a dad just wakes up one day and decides to be inappropriate towards their daughter, just like people don't wake up and decide to become a pedophile. It's a lot of little bad choices, a lot of little boundaries that were crossed a lot of little secrets that all snowball into something big. Another example of Patrick buying Sarah inappropriate clothing is when he gave Sarah this bikini. Sarah and Patrick brushed off this gift as not weird because they explained that Sarah wants to become a trainer at SeaWorld. You know, the people that work with dolphins and whales to perform in shows. So they explained that Patrick bought this bikini to help encourage Sarah towards that goal. The thing is, 1, there are a million other ways that Patrick could have shown his support for this goal of Sarah's. 2, I think a dad buying a bikini for his daughter, period, is just weird. 3, the bikini is also a pretty sexy one. Like the red date night dress, it shows a lot of cleavage and it shows a lot of stomach and it's pretty low on the hips. I'm not a prude and obviously I know that swimwear doesn't usually cover a lot, but as a woman who has bought many bikinis myself, I know there are ones that offer more coverage than the one that Patrick bought for Sarah. It's also just odd to me that, again, like with the red dress, she tried this on for him. He took photos of her in the bikini and then uploaded it to social media. As I said earlier, these are all little actions, and I'm using the word little generously here, that add up to one big mistake. Probably the most egregious thing that Patrick has done with Sarah is offer her a purity ring by imitating a marriage proposal. I'm going to play the full clip that has now gone insanely viral on TikTok, and then we'll unpack it. So here it is.
So, I am about to give Sarah a purity ring, but I'm going to do it in a very special way. I am actually going to make it look like a marriage proposal. Now, don't get the wrong idea, it's not a marriage proposal, okay? This is just, I'm very grateful that she has remained pure to this point and is continuing to remain pure, and I want to give this to her as a sign that I'm proud of her. But there it is. She's going to love it. Okay, so let's go get Sarah, okay? Sarah, I need you to get up, honey.
Okay.
Just don't worry about it.
Yeah. Okay. I was trying to read a book.
Yes?
What are you doing?
You're about to find out.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, listen. First of all, okay, you're 20 years old.
Duh.
Okay. And most kids your age are not pure. Have not remained pure.
Sad but true.
Well, I want to thank you for remaining pure.
Okay.
Okay? And I want to give you something.
What?
I want to give you something.
Okay.
Okay? So, Sarah.
Yeah. What are you doing? What? What is this?
Sarah, will you wear this ring as a sign and a promise to God and to me to remain pure until the day you're married?
Yes. That is gorgeous.
Give me your left hand. Okay. This ring will remain on your left ring finger until the day your husband puts another ring there in its place,
Okay.
as a sign that you will remain pure.
Nice.
I love you.
I love you too.
My sweet girl.
I like it.
Now, just to further explain, in case you have no idea what the heck a purity ring is, just as Patrick talked about in the clip, a purity ring is a ring that some fathers give to their daughters to make them promise to not have sex until they're married. Most fathers, like Patrick, not only see this as a promise between father and daughter, but also between their daughter, the father, and God. So often fathers will take on the role of also protecting their daughter's virginity by making sure she is never alone with a boy, making sure he knows all her friends, chaperoning her on any dates that she does go on, etc. The idea of purity rings is rooted in something called purity culture. Purity culture is a movement born in the 1990s, and I'm actually going to read the Google AI overview because it does a good job of summarizing this cultural movement. So it says, purity culture is a movement within some Christian communities that emphasizes a biblical view of purity and virginity before marriage. It is primarily found in evangelical Christianity, particularly among white Western American Christians. Purity culture's central message is that a woman's worth is tied to her purity, especially her virginity. It encourages young unmarried women to wait until marriage for sex, discourages sexual exploration, and reinforces traditional gender roles. Purity culture's practices include emphasizing abstinence from sexual intercourse before marriage. Purity culture discourages dating to avoid premarital sex. Purity culture encourages women and girls to dress modestly to avoid arousing sexual urges in men and boys. And purity culture also encourages mental training. So, for example, it teaches men to train their minds to avoid sexual thoughts or feelings, or to avert their eyes when they see something that might trigger them.
Some say that purity culture can be harmful because it makes it difficult to speak about certain aspects of women's health, like experiencing painful menstrual cycles. It can also cause people to lose focus on Jesus Christ by placing an emphasis on being good, rather than focusing on your relationship to God. It also makes assumptions including the idea that gender is binary, and that heterosexual desire is the only right form of sexual desire.
So I have a lot of problems with this video of Patrick and Sarah. First, I think it is really odd that he gave Sarah the ring in the form of a marriage proposal. Call me a romantic, but getting engaged is such a special, usually once in a lifetime thing that I think should just be reserved between two lovers. My husband is the only man who has proposed to me, and as much as I love my dad, I'm so thankful that I had this special moment with just my husband. Second, I think it's weird that he would post such a personal thing on social media. Unlike a wedding proposal that many share on social media to celebrate with others, this video was all about Sarah's purity. Remember, Patrick said that at the beginning of the top of the video, that he's so proud of Sarah for choosing to remain pure until marriage, and he wants to show her how proud he is with this ring. That is a really personal decision of Sarah's that I don't think should be shared on social media. Think of the pressure Sarah must feel knowing that not only does her dad and God expect her to be pure until marriage, but all of social media now knows about that promise too. Also, Patrick makes a sweeping judgment on all of Gen Z by saying that most kids your age haven't remained pure. Sarah answers, sad but true, showing that he has put this idea in her head. A study from Fortune magazine last year actually shows that only 30% of teens/young adults say that they have had sex, while 38% say that they have had sex according to a 2019 study. And then compare that to a decade ago, when 50% of teens/young adults said that they have had sex. So not only is what Patrick said not true, but it also puts more pressure on Sarah to be better than her peers. And that could even cause her to have a judgmental view of her peers that have had sex. The third thing that creeps me out in this video is that Patrick tells Sarah to place the ring on her left ring finger. As you may know, that is traditionally where married people wear their wedding ring. Not only that, but he told Sarah to wear it until her husband replaces it with his own ring. Similar to what we read in the AI overview about purity culture, this reinforces traditional gender roles and the misogynistic view that women belong to men. Patrick seems to imply in his speech to Sarah that she is under his authority and is essentially his property, she belongs to him, until she becomes her husband's property and is then under his authority. That's the vibe I got anyway. Also, as the AI overview pointed out, there are a lot of problematic things that purity culture teaches women, but probably one of the most damaging things it teaches is that a woman's worth is defined by her virginity, and that it is her job to protect it, along with her dad's. In fact, some critics of purity culture call it rape culture because rather than teaching men not to lust after or objectify women, it teaches women that men can't control their wandering eyes or their sexual urges, so they have to cover up and dress modestly, which usually means wearing baggy, loose clothing, long skirts, long shorts, flowy dresses, and no sleeveless tops. And rather than teach men how to behave appropriately towards women, it teaches women that they need to protect themselves from unwanted male attention because, again, men just can't help themselves when it comes to their sexual desires.
Case in point, these are all the wives of this one man.
Some preachers of purity culture even go as far as to tell women that if they are raped, it is their fault. That might sound crazy, but it was discussed in the docuseries Shiny Happy People that you can find on Amazon Prime, which was about the Duggar family and fundamentalist Christianity, which is a very strict, very traditional version of Christianity. Many fundamentalist Christian families, like the Duggars, were a part of the IBLP, a cult that was run by a man called Bill Gothard. Gothard created wisdom books, which were basically homeschool curriculum that fundy families would use to teach their children. In Wisdom Booklet 36, Gothard describes how if a woman is sexually assaulted and doesn't cry out for help, then she is as equally guilty as her attacker. So even though purity culture teaches that a man is guilty if he rapes a woman, the woman is also guilty of fornication because she didn't cry out for help. In other words, it's the same as telling a rape victim that they were asking for it. I could go on about purity culture, and I probably will make a whole video dedicated to it because boy do I have some stories to tell and some thoughts to share. By the way, if you would like to see a video on that, leave a comment letting me know because I really do want to obviously make content that y'all are interested in. Speaking of, before I go into my final thoughts, please leave a like if you enjoyed this video. It literally lets me know that you like it and want to see more of these kinds of deep dives that I do. Also, if you're new to my channel and want to see more from me, please consider subscribing and ring the bell so that you'll never miss out on any of my future content. All right, so one aspect of Patrick and Sarah's dynamic that we have touched on a lot is that Patrick is Sarah's father. And as a father, I think that Patrick has shown a lot of poor judgment and inappropriate behavior. I think Patrick is a very immature person that sees his kids almost as peers rather than kids. We can see by the way Sarah talks to Patrick that she doesn't really respect him. In the purity ring video, when he comes up to her, she has a very annoyed tone with him and tells him that she was trying to read. In another clip, when Patrick is acting goofy, silly, whatever, Sarah tells him that he needs to go to bed. I think this is problematic because it may make it easier for Patrick to be inappropriate with Sarah because he doesn't really see her as his daughter, but as a peer. I believe Sarah is now 22, so given that she is a young adult, that may also help reinforce the idea that she's more of a peer and less of a child to Patrick, if that makes sense. Another troubling aspect of Patrick and Sarah's dynamic is that clearly Patrick has groomed Sarah to be okay with his inappropriate behavior. Sarah started posting on social media alone when she was a teenager, and even then we can see her dynamic with her father is troubling.
Hey guys, so I'm not good at the whole explaining thing like my dad, so this won't be a very long story, but you guys wanted it, and I want to try my best. So call this our first story time. Now, I can't do this all at once, so this is going to be filmed in clips to give me a chance to organize my thoughts and hopefully make it interesting. So when I first dove into social media, I really wanted everyone to like me. So I would post a bunch of videos here on TikTok on things that were trending. I was really uncomfortable with some of them because the sounds weren't exactly clean. I mean, I cussed, but these were bad. I was able to stay away from a lot of the suggestive stuff because of my beliefs. I got a decent response and people wanting to message me and talk to me. I was happy people were liking me. That's where it got a bit crazy. I ended up in a group chat and talking to people there, and they were all talking about editing and trends and stuff like that and asking me to do certain trends. I can't even remember all of them, but I know some of them had sounds that weren't great, but I wanted people to like me, so I did them. I also got into editing and cosplay transitions. Some of the edits they talked about sounded fun, so I dove into my favorite TV shows and movies for edits. I ended up getting so involved that I became obsessed with them. I did a few cosplay transitions from the shows and wore outfits I would never wear. I also heavily used makeup, which I hate. I got to a point where I couldn't even recognize myself anymore. It wasn't until my dad stumbled on one of my accounts that I realized how bad it had gotten. Honestly, I never crossed a few lines because of my core beliefs, but I was at a point where I might have. My dad sat me down and explained to me that it's okay for you to want people to like you, but by changing who you are, they aren't really liking you, they're liking the person they want you to be. He told me to find those friends that accept me for who I am, and those are my true friends. He also helped me to see that I needed to stop being someone I'm not and be who I really am. So I deleted all the accounts and found a couple true friends who stuck by me even when they knew who I truly was. Since I decided to focus on myself, I am much happier. I'm at a point now where I don't care what anyone else thinks I should be. I am who I am, and I change for no one. I decided that I still wanted to do TikTok, but I wanted to be the real me. So I asked my dad to team up and do dance trends and maybe even other fun stuff. And so the dream team was born.
Some may say that since Sarah is an adult now, why doesn't she break out on her own and start her own life away from her family? I think Sarah and Patrick are attached to each other through something therapists call enmeshment. Once again, the Google AI overview explains this well and gives some good examples. Parental enmeshment is a family relationship dynamic where parents and children have unclear roles and expectations, and the parents are overly reliant on their children for support. In these relationships, children may not be able to develop emotionally or separate themselves from their parents. Some signs of parental enmeshment include In children, they may prioritize their parents' needs over their own, have little privacy away from their parents, and they might feel guilty if they don't follow their family's wishes. They may also have trouble making decisions without their parents' approval. In parents, they might be overly protective. They may micromanage their children's lives and refuse to accept that their children are growing up. They may also try to be their child's best friend and may invade their children's privacy by going through their belongings or closely monitoring their activities. Enmeshment can make it difficult for children to become independent and responsible for their own choices. It can also be considered a sign of a dysfunctional family. Some causes of enmeshment may include events in the family history that cause the parent to intervene, such as illness, trauma, or social problems. In another article I read, it specifically said too that a child who is dealing with enmeshment from their parents might also have a hard time moving away due to all of the other problems that were listed, like not being able to make their own choices, the parent having a hard time accepting that they're growing up, so the parent might even guilt them into staying in the family home and not moving away. And like I said, I feel like that example touches on my point about Sarah moving away. Sarah may want to move out on her own, like many other 20-somethings, but Patrick may get upset or sad if she talks about leaving, which then guilts her into staying. Also, if Patrick is being allegedly sexually inappropriate with Sarah, he may also coerce her into staying with him to 1, continue their relationship, and 2, protect himself from anyone finding out because he may be afraid of who Sarah might tell, accidentally or purposefully, when she's no longer under his watchful eye. Again, they have deleted and created new accounts with different names so many times, and Sarah says it's because of all the trolls, i.e. people calling Patrick out. So I don't think that Patrick would want her to be out on her own where he can't control their narrative. Many may ask where Sarah's mom is in all of this. Patrick explains here.
Hello everybody. So we've had a lot of people asking, why don't you change your page name to include the whole family?
They see my mom and Hunter and feel like the page should reflect the whole family.
Let's be clear. We love our family. That's why we feature them so much.
However, my mom is not very comfortable in front of the camera.
And Hunter would rather be playing at the park, playing basketball, or doing other things than just being a kid.
We started this channel to have fun and show off our father-daughter relationship.
It has grown quite a bit since then, and we have started showing off our whole family's relationship.
But my dad and I are still the main people doing the content.
And that, above all else, is the main reason why we will continue to be the dad and daughter dream team.
We will still do lots of videos about and including our whole family.
Their support is why we can do this, so they're still very important to us. But Sarah and I are the content creators.
We love that you guys love our family as much as we do.
We hope this has answered your questions about why we are and will remain the dad and daughter dream team while still featuring our whole family.
See y'all in the next video.
Some have speculated based on Tammy's facial structure and mannerisms that she may have cognitive issues that cause her to not be aware of how inappropriate Patrick is with Sarah, and that make her easy to control and manipulate as well. Speaking of family, as just an aside, it's interesting to note that one of Patrick's brothers is listed as a registered sex offender, and there are rumors that his other brother is also listed as a sex offender. I'm not saying by any means that being a pedophile or being sexually inappropriate with children, specifically children that are yours, so I guess incestuous, I'm not trying to say that incest or pedophilia are, passed down through the family, and that if certain members of the family are those things, then everyone in the family is those things. But I think it might have created maybe an environment that Patrick grew up in where that thing was kind of seen more as normal, quote unquote.
As another aside, someone noticed in the Reddit forum dedicated to discussing Patrick and Sarah's weird dynamic, a user who posted twice in the Reddit forum defending Patrick also left a disturbing comment in another Reddit forum. Here is the username and their post or comment history on Reddit. Here we see the comments from the user in the Reddit about Sarah and Patrick. One post is calling out Patrick for taking weird photos with Sarah. The user replies, "Come on people. Stop it already. She's a beautiful young lady. Her father is just a little outdated or shit." In the other post, someone calls out how Patrick and Sarah holding hands all the time. That same user comments, "Stop hating. You act as if you all have never felt real love for your daughter. Think for a minute." Lastly, that same user responds to a post in a Reddit forum called Incest Confessions. As gross as it sounds, it is a Reddit forum dedicated to the incest kink that some people have. I personally wouldn't call that a kink. Sometimes kink shaming is okay when it's gross or illegal. Anyway, a young woman made a post talking about how she wanted to have sex with her dad. The same user active in the Reddit about Sarah and Patrick replied to that post saying, "Hey, I would love to show you." If you haven't used Reddit, everyone is kept anonymous by using a random avatar for their profile photo and a random username. So we'll never know if that user was Patrick, but given how they were active in the Reddit about the duo, they were defending Patrick and they were active in the incest Reddit forum, it seems highly suspicious. Especially since this is a small Reddit forum with 2,000 members. Even if it wasn't Patrick, the fact that they attract people who are into incest is creepy.
Anyway, again, the fact that Patrick is, a very staunch Christian, and in the Christian household, fathers are essentially seen as the leaders and the final authority, Tammy may feel that she has to submit to Patrick's leadership as well as Sarah, and so she can't challenge him when it comes to how he acts with her. Since we don't see much of Tammy, it is hard to pin down her role in the family. But anyway, I wanted to bring up this family's story because sadly, it is all too common. We hear so many stories of fathers being inappropriate with their daughters, and I wanted to help shine a light on this secretive, silent epidemic. I know some of you may have sadly experienced inappropriate behavior from your parents too, whether that was enmeshment or various kinds of abuse. If that's the case, please know that there is help for you and there is no shame upon you. Like Sarah, you were just a kid trying to please your mom or dad or both. You didn't know that things were wrong because you trusted your parent or parents to never lead you wrong. I've left some resources below, and I would also highly encourage therapy if that is easily attainable for you. Also, if you see something, please say something. So many people overhear or see inappropriate behavior between a parent and a child. So if your instincts tell you that something is off, please listen and make a report to your local CPS. So many children have been rescued from awful situations by a good Samaritan who made the right call. Children are the innocents in this world who can't advocate for themselves, so let's be vigilant and do what we can and advocate for them. The last way that we can get help for Sarah is to share this video. Her most recent video is also troubling to me, and I'm going to play it here for you now.
So I think it's time I speak out for myself. First of all, leave my dad alone. You've already pushed him off of social media. What more do you want? He's not posting with me or even alone. So back off. And for the record, I don't need help.
So clearly in this video, Sarah says that she is fine to stop coming after her dad, that he is off social media, and what more do we want? And I would argue that we want to know that Sarah is safe, even though she insists that she is safe and fine. I think that with all of the evidence I have laid out, it is clear that she is not in a safe environment. And so the more people who share this video, with the more eyes on this, the more likelihood that she may see it one day and view her situation in a new perspective. Often we can learn how wrong our situation is when we view it through someone else's eyes, someone on the outside. Help is out there for Sarah and anyone else that needs it. I hope that you find it.